Hey, what's happening? In this lesson, we're going to talk about the new way to sell things online. The game has changed. I've been doing this since 1999, and there is a much easier and simpler way, and it's awesome, and I'll share it with you. And in order to share the new way, I first have to show you the old way. The old way still totally works, by the way. It's just harder, and there's a lot of problems associated with it. So here is the old way that you've probably tried before. Typically, we start out with ads. All right, and we run some ads, and those drive people to an opt-in page. So we get somebody to become a lead, and now they're in our funnel. All right, yay, and that's really awesome. And our funnel includes, of course, our sales page. So we want to go to our sales page. Whoops. And ultimately, we want them to become a customer. All right. And like this is the standard way. And like this has always kind of worked, and this is always what's taught. And it's not necessarily wrong, especially if, because of course, eventually you realize not enough people that are becoming a lead over here or becoming a buyer over here. And then you add in some follow up, and that can make everything work better. And that's kind of where we started, and then years ago, and now increasingly more and more, we've got this beautiful thing, which is so good that I'm going to change the color over here to green. We've got content. And now included, in the old way, which is we will make content that drives people to become a lead, and they therefore enter our funnel, and they go to our sales page, and they probably don't buy immediately, which is why we follow up. And we have seen, probably you've seen, if you do content and stuff, that usually the people who come from here, where's my little pencil, these folks go a lot faster to these destinations, because they like you more and they trust you more. All right. And so that's good, but it still falls within the category of the old way. And again, it's not necessarily bad. It's just if you're frustrated or stuck or whatever, it's probably because you're doing this, and you're not wrong for doing this. It just so happens that there is a better way. Before I show you the better way, let me at least demonstrate what these problems are, just so like kind of where we're coming from with this newer approach, and so you'll know that you're not alone in experiencing them. So problem number one is, like, you'll run an ad and you'll spend like $100 on ads, and you won't immediately make it back, and that is psychologically awful. Because you put all this work into making the thing, you put all this work into making the funnel, you put all this work into writing like the sales copy and everything, and you spend money on ads, and you don't make your money back, and it loses money, and that is not fun. It's also really common, so it's like typically in the beginning everybody goes through that, but it doesn't make it any fun. And also over here, same thing kind of goes with content. So we can make content, but the problem will be that nobody sees it, and it just doesn't do anything. So like you post and stuff, and like just nothing happens, and that could either be in the form of you're not getting any followers or whatever. They don't really matter, but still, people make a big deal out of it. Or you could be posting content and people just ignore it, and that's kind of disheartening. So that sucks. And then we have this other issue, and this is email. Now, this is where I'm supposed to say email is dead and email doesn't work and all of that, and I'm not going to say that because it's simply not true. Email is still the most profitable marketing channel on the planet. Just go Google email marketing ROI stats. I trust HubSpot's data on this one. They do a report every year, and it's still like the number one most profitable channel. Here's the problem. People don't read it very much. So what happens is a lot of folks have an ad, and they'll get a lead, and they'll send them like a little follow-up series. And, that still doesn't work. It's this, or they'll make the content or whatever. They'll get people into the funnel, and they'll send them a little follow-up series. So instead of one email, they might send like a week's worth of email or whatever. And you still don't see the results you want, and you're like, damn it. And so then you end up needing to send out a metric buttload of emails that is a real unit of measurement in the metric system. And then finally people start going and they start seeing your sales page, and then we run into the final problem, which is this doesn't convert like you wanted it to. You're like, man, I thought this is what people wanted. Is it my copy? And then we start to doubt ourselves, and here's what happens. And this is the cycle of death. That's a bit dramatic. But this is an unpleasant thing that is experienced by many people. I've been there myself, which is we're like, oh, well, there must be something wrong with this. So I'm going to change this right here. I'm going to change this offer to new offer. All right. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make new content, and I'm going to make new ads about the new offer, and I'm going to rewrite my sales page and build an entirely different funnel and all of that kind of stuff and change everything. And I'm going to have to rebuild all of these email sequences and stuff. And I'm going to try that, and I'm going to see if that works. And sometimes it works for a while, and it'll either three things will happen. Number one, it just won't work. Number two, it'll work amazing and you're set for life. If that happened, we wouldn't be here right now. So I hope it's happened to you, though. That would be awesome. Or number three is it works a little bit, but and it's super inconsistent, and it's really frustrating, and it sucks. It's stressful, and you don't know what to do every day, and you're overwhelmed. Okay, so here's why these problems are occurring. Biggest reason, generally, when I talk to folks, is we have something I call the perfect offer fallacy. And that is, we think we have to have the perfect offer. As a matter of fact, I have a training called the Perfect Offer Formula, which I wish I could go back in time and rename to the Perfect Pitch Formula, because it's just how to make a pitch. But people think that they have to come up with the perfect thing to offer. So we'll spend all this time okay, what's the thing I'm going to sell? And you think you got to just get it absolutely perfect. And that causes people all sorts of problems, which we'll talk about in a second. But this is the biggest one. If you're in this boat and you're like, man, I gotta find a new offer. It's my offer. Something wrong with my offer. That's probably not the case. And I'll prove it to you in a minute. As a matter of fact, let me prove it to you now. All right. Here's the thing. Most people don't know what the hell they want. All right. They just have no clue. I'll give you an example. You ever go just shopping? I don't know, go to the Gap or something. You're I think I'll go to the Gap today, or to Barnes and Noble or whatever, and you go there and you don't know what you want, but you want something. And so you go and you end up buying something, and you didn't know what you wanted until you saw all of the possibilities laid out in front of you. All right. When we force ourselves to have one singular offer that we deem to be perfect, and we put all of this pressure on ourselves to make it perfect, we end up selling a lot less stuff. So let's not do that. That is harmful and costs you money. Now, the second problem is speed. Okay. So what's going on is we're going too slow. All right. And this is really going to drive you nuts here because this is what happens. All right. So let's see. I'll map this out for you so you have to watch me. Okay. So this is what we want to have happen. All right. So, but someone sees our stuff, they opt in, and we're thinking in our minds, well, they opted in, so they're going to go check the email to get the free thing that we promised them. And then they're going to click it, and they're going to go to our sales letter because our free thing was so good. It drives them to our sales letter, and then they're going to buy. And we want that to happen immediately. But what happens is they see stuff and they opt in. And let me ask you, all right, let's say we're running ads, or we got content, okay? And so I'll make my content green here. Where do you think they're seeing this stuff? This is a one-sided conversation. Like I'm alone in this room. Why am I asking you? You can't answer. I'm obviously crazy. They're seeing it on social media, right? So like, they're just gonna leave Instagram or Facebook or YouTube and then like just go straight over there and check their email and then they're gonna click and then they're gonna buy? Like, no, nobody does that. So we want them to, but they don't. And what ends up happening is by the time they've seen this, whoops, I thought that was my marker. There we go. By the time they have seen your stuff and given their email address and finally checked their email and they finally see your stuff, they've gone from super interested to like, this is just a dude going, like just, they're really not that interested anymore. They're not hot anymore. All right. So we're taking too long to engage with them, even if you send the email immediately. And you're probably like, oh, he's going to tell me to call them instantly. And I'm not going to tell you to do that at all unless you just want to. But that's problem number one. And now the next problem around speed, and you're just going to love me for this one because it's going to be completely contradictory to what I just told you, is we're also going too fast. And in going too fast, we are expecting them to have two situations happening. We're expecting them to actually know what they want, all right? So really, oh, I definitely want this one thing. I came here, I saw this content, I want to buy what this person is selling. I want to buy it. I know what it is. We're expecting them to know what they want, and we're expecting them to trust us, all right? And they typically don't do either one of these things until they've seen a lot of content. And even then, when they've seen a lot of content, they could come into your funnel and still not know what the hell they want. And so now, because of the perfect offer fallacy, we have a situation where they come and they see our beloved sales page, so this is the sales page, you got a video and blah, 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 and they don't buy. And now we're like, damn it. And the reason they don't buy is because we've got this perfect offer fallacy and we're trying to, like, it's like we've gone to the Gap and all they have are heavy wool sweaters. And we're like, man, I wanted something, but I don't want a heavy wool sweater. You got anything else? No. Yeah, we have a heavy wool sweater and you better buy it right now or else it's the end of the world. And so like that works for people who want heavy wool sweaters, but maybe that and so that's why you end up in that cycle of death, which is, again, a very dramatic term. So here's how to solve it, all right? It's the perfect process and the perfect pitch. And notice I'm not saying the perfect offer here, and I don't mean perfect pitch in the audible sense. So here's the perfect process, okay? First of all, as much as I love ads, let's just quit worrying about ads for a minute and focus on content, all right? And the reason we should focus on content for now is because it's free, number one, and it builds trust. If you like do it right and you put it in front of the perfect person that you can like help the most, and you actually show them cool stuff and you make it about what they want and how they want it, they're already going to be more inclined to trust you. So that's great. That's easy. That's fun to make. Now let's go to the next phase. Instead of turning them into a lead, turn them into a member of a community. All right? Now, this is super important, okay? We don't say in your content, hey, go join my community. That's not what you do. It's the exact same framing, like, hey, go here and get a free thing. It's just, hey, go here and get this free thing when you're part of my community. Here's how I do it. This page right here, this is my opt-in page for my free community called Creators. You might even be a member of it. Right now, this converts at like 27% here. And it used to convert around 35%. But I started asking people for their phone numbers and their business income, which is totally irrelevant. I just wanted to see if they would answer it. So this is it. But notice, it's not like, hey, here's how great the community is. This is the stuff that you're getting for free here. All right. And so they join your community. Now, the reason the community is so important is because it allows you to immediately do a couple of things. Number one, you are able to give them value. All right. And in a community, people get value in a wide number of ways. Number one is the stuff that you give them. Sure. Number two, it's the other members of the community. We are hardwired to want to belong to a group, and it's cooler to be with other people that want the same stuff as you and have the same interests as you do than it is to just sit alone and be by yourself and lonesome. That's just normal. So that provides value. It also, when people are part of a community, especially if you use something like school, allows you to communicate with people faster, and it allows you to make your pitch faster. So I want to show you a sales process here. Now remember, we started with content. All right. So one of the single most effective sales processes I have ever seen is where in your community, you could have this, you could do this every day if you want to. You can just have it as something that exists there, but you make a content offer pitch. All right. A cop. And what this is you're like giving some value, and then you say something like, hey, by the way, if you want some help buying stuff from the Gap or whatever, if you're looking for clothes or something, let me know in the comments, and I'll DM you with some information. Okay, so this is one way of this perfect process here. So we've got them. We have them as a lead. We could email them if we want to and all that kind of stuff. But we can immediately start talking to them in quotes through this process, because they will see this content offer post. So you give them some value, and then you make the offer. Hey, man, if you want some help with this, let me know. And then they will comment. And when they do, you DM them. All right. And you ask them what they want. Okay. So this is like crazy. You're like, okay, cool. You need some help, and you find out what it is that they're looking for. And remember earlier, I was like, hey, if you put yourself in this box and you can only offer one thing, then this person they're not going to have a lot of ways that they can pay you. They only have this one thing they could buy from you. But if you come to the realization that there are a multitude of ways to monetize your knowledge or your skill set, and that it's a lot smarter and a lot easier to make the perfect offer to the perfect person based on what they tell you they want, then your life is going to be a lot easier, assuming you can actually help them. So here's an example. All right. I am a marketing guy. Okay. And as such, I have marketing courses. And if I was just limited to courses, I could say something like, hey, if you need some help with stuff or whatever, let me know. And then I could be like, all right, what do you need help with? What's going on? And I would just be like, okay, well, you need to get my course. But what if they don't want a course? Because not everybody does. Well, I could sell them like a campaign, which also is a C. So there we go, a campaign. Like I could write them an email campaign or something. I could just do that for them. That's another offer I can make, or a sales letter, or a brand audit, right? Or an ad setup. So setup, all right? Or a one-on-one call or something, like literally a service. So just do a little call. Okay. Or I could enroll them into a mastermind or something if I wanted to sell something high ticket. We could go on, but there's like a gazillion different things that I could conceivably offer this person that would help them get what they want. So the perfect pitch is, hey, what do you want? And they say, I want this, some jeans. And you're like, oh, metaphorically, here they are. And they're like, oh, cool, thank you. Like, that's a billion times easier to do. It just makes a lot more sense. But if you're stuck in that perfect offer trap where you have this one thing, then you're not going to be able to do this. And incidentally, this entire conversation, depending on price point, could be had over direct message. And what's really cool is when you have a community, like in school, for example, you can just direct message people right there inside the community. I strongly encourage you to have a community because of the ability to do this and the ability to constantly be in front of these leads, because people like going into the community, and especially if you use Skool. It's awesome. I'm a big advocate of it, obviously. Okay, so this is like process pitch number one. All right, really, really easy to do this. You just ask them what they want, and if you can give it to them and you feel like packaging it up and selling it to them, you can do it, and you can just send them a Stripe link right there or PayPal link, and it's freaking amazing, and it works really, really well. There's a second one you can do. You're like, well, I don't really want to have to do anything. I don't want to like make a course, or I don't know how to build people campaigns or write sales letters or something. I'm just like, let's just say you're just really into marketing and you don't consider yourself like qualified enough to do all this other stuff. That's okay, because here is another method that you could do. So we're going to follow the same process right here. All right, and our next step here, so everything's the same. They see your content. It's about marketing. Let's just keep it in that vein because we can all relate to it. All right, they see your content. It helps them with stuff about marketing. You're like, hey, get some free stuff when you join my free community. Like I have here, like, this seriously, this is the page to join it. It converts great. And they get value there. You make a content offer post, like here's some cool stuff I learned about marketing. And by the way, next step. Okay. So next step is DM me if you're interested, and I can show you like some cool tools that can help you. And our next phase here is they DM you, and drag up my square. You send them to a trial where they can try someone else's product that you're an affiliate for. And this is a beautiful, like zero resistance pitch here, because they saw something helpful from you, which you enjoy making. They're in your community and they're just a bunch of people talking about the same kind of stuff that you like. You provide some value to them by like even just sharing stuff that you learned, like, hey, I saw this cool YouTube video. Here was what it was about. I think it might be helpful to you. You make a post about some stuff. You say, hey, DM me if you're interested in trying this kind of thing. And I'll send you some info about it. And then you hook them up with a trial that you get paid affiliate commission for, or it's not a trial or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But the trial thing is the most frictionless pitch ever. And that's what I'm trying to go for with you, is like the easiest way, not like zero effort or zero work, but like the easiest thing for someone to say yes to is, what do you want? Jeans? Oh, here you go. That's really easy for someone to say yes to. Another easy thing for them to say yes to is like, hey, yeah, I'm interested in learning about marketing automation. And you're like, oh, cool. Here, you can take a free trial to this thing that I really like over here. I think it's really great. Give it a shot. And then you make affiliate commissions. In this group, I don't really sell anything. I just like promote two things, which is Skool, because Skool is awesome, and Go High Level, because it helps me automate all of this sort of stuff. So this is my like answer to anyone that's stuck in the zone of death here, where you're doing this. Stop doing that. Stop like trying to make this work over here and try this. Only thing you're changing is you're simply not being married to one single offer, and or you'd like to sell affiliate stuff to people who join your community. And if you would like some help figuring out, like, okay, who's the perfect person for me? What should I make content about? What do I do if I don't like have anyone that's seeing my content? Where do I find people that like are like me and stuff? And how do I do this without spending a lot of money or any money on ads, like at all? Let me know. DM me, because I have figured out a way to do this, regardless of like whether you're selling courses or you're selling stuff as an affiliate, you're sending people to trials, or you're sending people to buy things. It really doesn't matter. I figured out a way to do it that literally has only 3 steps. So if the idea of like a 3-step process where there are only 3 things you got to do on a daily basis. You don't technically have to do them every day. And you don't want to be overwhelmed. You actually want to have some fun and like sell stuff quickly and in a cool way. Then let me know. And I will send you some information about what I got. And I think you'll like it a lot. I'm going to end on that because it rhymed. Okay, thanks for watching this. Regardless, this is how stuff works now. Like Instagram basically is a small or is a giant universe comprised of small micro communities, and your micro community is just the feed. And you're just a member of this thing that you're constantly seeing posts that the algorithm has determined is right for you. Why not just be your own version of that? This, with all of these members in here, 8,700, we get more every day from free content. It's just like when you have your own community, it's literally like having your own version of social media, except people like it more. So if you want to know how to do all this kind of stuff, let me know and I'll shoot you over some details. Okay,